Well, hey guys, welcome to the corner where we talk about anime, manga, and everything in between. What are we talking about tonight? Well, we're going to be on a rant today. What's the rant about? Well, as you guys know, I recently posted a video about Sake and had a little bit of rant about what was going on here. So this rant is going to be about the do's and don'ts of anime. And the biggest thing about the do's and don'ts of anime is there are 3 situations that really can destroy an anime in the first place. That is the fillers. That is the narrative, and that is obviously the drag out. Like, seriously, the drag out. These 3 are the 3 main causes of deaths in animes in the first place, and it really does cause a big controversy when it comes down to one of these 3 in the first place. And I think it's the draw out, because the draw out can either make or break an anime, and some animes do have an extreme draw out. Sake had a giant draw out. When it came down to it, they would go back, and the draw out would be a draw out filler type of situation, and they would go back and repeat things that they already had stated. They would go back and repeat a situation, repeat this, repeat that, and in the middle of a tournament game where you really just wanted to see how it ended up. Sake not being the only anime that's done this, it's one of the most prominent ones in my mind at the moment. And the other one that has done it to me is actually One Piece. One Piece, some people will argue with me, is probably one of the most drawn out animes I've ever seen. Besides from Dragon Ball Z and Sake, One Piece has that drawn out moments where it's explaining things that doesn't need to be explained anymore, and it's trying to give like 2 hours worth of detail, so much detail into it that it almost ruins the anime in general. The one I go about the most is literally the moment when Luffy is trying to get to the front to save his brother, and the amount of time it takes him to get from point A to point B, which was apparently within about a minute or so, takes over 4 or 5 episodes for him to get there, because they're going through every character's details, side characters, everything in that battlefield, everything that people are thinking and stuff like that. It's just constantly going through it, even though you're just trying to see the storyline for what it is and what's going on in it, and it's like they're holding your hand through the whole thing. One of the animes that has done something like this, but not in the drawn out more way, but more in the narrative way, is Hunter x Hunter. And Hunter x Hunter is one of my favorite animes, but when it hit that saga where the narrator took over to talk about it, it was another thing where they were like holding your hand through the whole anime in the end, and like they didn't trust you to understand what was going on and what other people were thinking. One Piece, I'm going to say this right now for people that are going, oh, you just hate One Piece and stuff like that. Whatever, man. I don't hate One Piece. I actually like One Piece. One Piece is from the same creators as I like, and I like One Piece. It's nothing about that. It's about them holding your hand and making it seem like you don't understand what's actually going on. Like I understand they're trying to put a lot of detail in it, but that detail just puts it into, I'm going to hold your hand because you don't understand what's going on here. And it's not something that is very appealing when it comes down to it. And with these creators, it seems like they're going more and more towards that, we need to hold your hand. And I never liked that. I never liked when creators went to, I'm going to hold your hand. I stopped playing World of Warcraft because that's literally what they started to do. They started to hold your hand. I stopped playing video games in general 90% of the time because they just start to hold your hand. It's nothing against the creation of the game or the game itself. The game could be amazing, but once they start holding your hand in it, it just becomes annoying, tedious, and you just don't want to play because it's making you feel like they're treating you like you're an idiot. Why would you want to watch something that makes you feel stupid? because they want to make you feel stupid at that point because they don't think that you can understand what's happening and ended up happening. It's one of those things. One Piece had the drawn out, Hunter x Hunter had the point in perspective of narrative, and it was one instance, but it was an instance that destroyed the anime for me. I'm probably gonna go back into it, and I've said a lot recently, but I do think I'm going to go back into it to watch after that point because it does deserve a good watch. But these are just examples of animes that I enter like, but end up having problems with because of what they end up doing, holding your hand and stuff. And then there's the opposite effect, the filler effect. What is the filler effect, you guys? Well, the filler effect is the effect of when we are rushing a creator to create his creation, and those fillers end up happening because the creator can't keep up with the demand of his creation, so he ends up throwing out fillers. Bleach is a great example of that. I myself loved Bleach. I enjoyed every ounce of Bleach, but that didn't stop me from in the end not wanting to watch it as much anymore because of the fact that it had a lot of fillers that didn't pertain to the anime itself and was not anything a part of the world after it happened. It wasn't something that was a constant anymore. A good filler is something that is a constant, and Dragon Ball Z does that pretty well every so often, except for now. And Dragon Ball Super, they destroyed the filler in Dragon Ball Z, and the noticeability of doing so because of the recent fillers, and that's the filler of the little girl who is in another one of the animes, another one of the creations, and then the baseball game, which those will never be mentioned ever again. They won't be looked back on or anything like that. When it came down to Dragon Ball Z, it had a formula that was working for them and was working pretty well, except for the long drawn out moments where they had a big power up and a lot of dialogue, and that was one of the things that it did fail on, but it did do the filler parts pretty well. It barely had any fillers, and even if it did have a filler, you didn't mind too much because you were enjoying it. Bleach had those type of fillers every so often, but it wasn't the same at all. With Bleach, it became an artist's depiction that could not be filled anymore. He could not continue to do his creation, and he wasn't enjoying it anymore, and you can tell. When we rush creators and animators, it becomes the biggest bane on our favorite animes in the first place. Because I'm going to tell you guys, I love watching One Piece. We watched the beginning of it up until the point where he's trying to save his brother, and I enjoy Hunter x Hunter, and I enjoyed it all the way up to the point of the narrative. I enjoyed Bleach all the way up until the giant, enormous fillers that didn't make any sense or weren't cared about anymore. Naruto did probably one of the best jobs of creating an anime that constantly flowed. Whether it had a filler in it or not, because you were interested in seeing the details of the characters. And yes, they had some bad fillers too. They really did. They had some fillers that you're like, okay, stop it. And it was towards the war, towards the end of the manga, the anime itself and manga. It was stuff that he was throwing in there because he hadn't had a break in years. And it shows what happens to creators when they're doing something extremely constantly. And it's not just up to the creators to make good anime, it's up to the viewers as well to be able to depict when an anime needs to take a while to come out. Yes, these animes can be very addicting, and they can be very enjoyable to watch, but when we start forcing a ban on a creator to do it so much, so it creates a decline in the anime because they're doing it so much, it just hurts the anime or manga in general. I've noticed that more off-brand anime mangas that don't get seen as as much. When I say off-brand, I mean ones that aren't mainstream. Most non-mainstream anime and manga are amazing, and it's because they have the time. They have the ability to create the creation without the restriction of time, without that push to do better. And it's kind of a big thing when an anime gets into the mainstream, and that the creators no longer can make a good anime. And that's where most animators want to be, though, is in that mainstream. And because of that, they hit a point where they can't create a creation well anymore. And it's because when you hit the mainstream, you have to have a weekly thing. You have to have it out every week and have to have something every week, over taking a good month or so to do it, or having your free time to do so. So there needs to be, when it comes down to it, an even balance when it comes to creators making things and people watching it and enjoying it. Because I myself would rather have quality over quantity, where I can watch something and it not have an extreme situation like Sake had, where it was extremely drawn out, and it just made you want to go, stop it! And it was just like, type of situation. And I have not felt myself doing that a lot with a lot of these situations. Hunter x Hunter gave me that situation as well, where they were doing that whole narrative thing. I'm just like, stop it! And I'm just like, I don't need the narrative. I understand what's going on. Stop trying to hold my hand. And I did it with Bleach when it came to the fillers. That didn't matter anymore. It's like, stop it. Alright? I don't care. That filler has nothing to do with what's going on. You stop the storyline in the middle of a giant battle. And that's just not cool. That's not at all cool. That's not something that you want to do. You don't want an anime to just stop in the middle of a battle. You don't. It's annoying. And one of the animes that has doing a good job of that, which is actually kind of in the mainstream, is Fairy Tail. They've been delivering anime after anime after anime based off as closely to the manga as possible to create an amazing experience, and through the manga itself has given us a great representation of what an animator, a creator, can do, what they can do with their creation, and what they want to do with the creation, as long as they give the limits that they're going to be doing it with. Because they said in the very beginning, we are going to make this manga, and if it goes into anime, we will make sure it stays with the base material. And yes, they've had a few failures here and there, but it wasn't as bad as the fillers that you would get from any other anime. It was actually more of a, alright, the arc is over, let's throw in this here real quick to just give them something to enjoy. Like when Natsu took out the big mecha dragon. It was nonsense and didn't need to be in there, but it was still pretty enjoyable to watch Natsu take out a giant mecha dragon. Not gonna lie, I don't know why it was so enjoyable, it just was. But you can see the shortcomings that will be coming in Fairy Tail as time goes on, just because of how it's been looking. And I think Fairy Tail itself might be ending as a manga because of where they are at a war perspective. And if they are ending it as a manga, it must mean that they are that they have reached their limit, and they know they've reached their limit. And I can understand that, because once an anime hits a certain point, or manga, it gets hard to continue it through that limit, because of the fact that once you pass it too far, you're drawing out an anime that doesn't need to be drawn out anymore. You're drawing out a manga that doesn't need to be drawn out anymore, and it would deserve an ending over cancellation. It just is one of those things. I enjoy anime, I enjoy manga, I enjoy everything when it comes down to this stuff. But I know when things are getting pushed too far, and that's what makes me want to do more reviews about animes and mangas, because I want to be able to give a good, accurate depiction on how I feel about certain animes and mangas that people aren't saying, oh my god, this is an amazing manga because of this, and this, but not really giving absolute detail on why I think so. And I want to try to work my way into saying that more often, why I think it's amazing, why I think it's doing a good basic situation, and why this is doing so well for me, and why I'm enjoying it. And it's something I've been lacking in recently because I've been doing a lot of binge watches. But since I did sake, I've realized I want to be able to tell you guys exactly why I feel the way I do, and it's going to be more constant now, and I'm going to try to make it more constant at this point. But there's a lot of don'ts when it comes down to anime, but there's a lot of do's, and the do's do come into play. The do's are moderation, and that's literally the do's. It's moderation. Moderation is the key, and moderation is what you need to do. It's what makes it good. A good moderated anime makes an amazing difference over something rushed. And I think that's the only thing I can really explain about that, is moderation is where you need to be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have listened to the end. If you guys have made it to the end, I'm so happy that you did, because I understand I was kind of being a little rantish and it probably did get annoying after a while. But it's something that is passionate towards me, that I have a passion for, and when it comes to anime, I have a passion for it. I have a passion for anime and manga, and it's something that I want you guys to understand more from my perspective. What makes an anime for me, what takes out an anime for me, what just isn't. It's my opinion in the end, so it's not like I'm trying to walk on everybody's toes and just smack them in the face and be like, whoosh, hey, bad, that's a bad anime. But I don't want to do that. I want to be like, it's a great anime for people who like this, this, and this. It's a great anime for people who like this, this, and this. I'm not going to ever say it's a bad anime unless it's truly, in my opinion, a bad anime that I can see somebody enjoying, but not somebody enjoying at the same time. And there's been a few of those that I just do need to do a review of, because it has happened. But I will give my honest opinion, and I will tell you guys if I don't like it or something like that, because that's literally what's going to end up happening. But sorry, I took a little bit longer there. So until the next time, you guys, I hope you enjoyed my rant. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great day and a fun one. Hey guys, thank you for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you press the like button below. If you have any comments, the same thing goes for there. Leave your comment below. If you guys have not subscribed yet, make sure you guys press the subscribe button right over here. And my latest videos are right over here if you want to continue on my reviews. But other